President Biden, you saved democracy in 2020.
Now you have a chance to do it again.
It's time to pass the torch and let us choose a new nominee.
One who can bring new energy, new hope,
and make sure Donald Trump never gets near the White House again.
Our country's future is in your hands.
So please be the leader we know you are. Pass the torch, Joe.
Pass the torch.
Pass the torch.
Pass the torch.
Pass the Torch is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Wow. I hope y'all got y'all tea because I'm ready. I hope you got your tea because I am ready. And it's hot. Welcome to the Jaybefaunt channel. I'm your host, James Fauntleroy. So good to see all of you on this Sunday evening. The Jaybefaunt channel is available on all major podcast platforms. Go ahead and subscribe there. Also part of Revolutionary Blackout, so you can see me there on the JB shows on Sunday and the Savvy and JB show on Thursdays. If you guys have not already, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Go ahead, because it's the thing to do. If you guys have not already, you guys can also go to my Substack at jaybefaunt.substack.com. That gives you email notifications whenever I go live or upload clips or write articles. We got some things to talk about, y'all. It is going to be a very, very interesting show. Now, I talked about this earlier with Nick on RBN, but I wanted to give a little bit more of my thoughts about the entire situation. But needless to say, a lot of us have been talking about this subject last year. We were talking about how we thought that Joe Biden would drop out either before or by the time of the Democratic National Convention. Turns out we were right. So, as you guys saw, there was an article, not an article, but an ad telling Joe to drop out. That came out, what, Friday or Saturday? And it was Savvy that sent me that. Shout out to you, Sabs. It was hilarious. And so before we get into this, I just want to say hello to people in the chat. Say hello, my salutations to all of you for joining in, because this is going to be a laugh fest. And by the way, you know, those of us on the left, we're going to get blamed. That's just the way it goes. Oh, Joe Biden is gone. Anyway, let's get to the people in chat really quick, and then we'll get into it. Oh boy, Desert Mantis coming in saying hi, JB. Desert Mantis, good to see you. Bestie of Besties Sweary Fairy says, first thought, I'm gonna need more weed. Second thought, did she him? Did Kamala write the letter? Rutherford Maplethorpe says, Jaybefaunt, turn on subscriber only mode. No, it's not on subscriber only mode. Well, yes, actually, it is. Yeah, you have to be subscribed in order to be in the chat. That's just how I have it. Always have it set that way. Matt is laughing. Yes, Matt. Go ahead, get your laugh on. We're going to get our laugh on today. It's going to be kind of interesting. We have Jay, the dancer, coming in with laughing emojis. Oh, this is going to be fun. Oh, man. Desert Mantis says, I'm making popcorn. Hey, put some extra butter in there for me. Terry Connolly coming in saying, good evening, JB and comrades. Ooh, Terry, are you ready for this? I know you've been in the chats all day. You have just been scoping out everybody. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, Terry. Did you guess this? Did you predict this as well? Because this is something that I predicted. I know Sabby predicted. Sabby. See, this is why y'all need to listen to Black women. Sabby has been saying this for a year at least. Right? Those of us at RBN, we've been saying this. My goodness. Peace from Miguel coming in. We have Jack Serum says, did Harris even get one delegate in the 2020 primary? I remember hearing that, but Google's search for Kamala is dominated by today's news. She dropped out before the California primaries. So needless to say, it don't matter because she knew that she wasn't going to get nothing from the California primary. Nothing. Chima coming in saying, I predicted this from the start. All right. Good. Terry Connolly says, yes, another RBM prediction come true. Yes. We have been predicting this stuff and it just like come to fruition. The universe said, oh, you're right. Let me give this to you. All right. Thank you, universe. You know, sometimes I actually hate being right on some things. But this one's just funny, but, you know, it is what it is. And Miguel says, yeah, Kamala did not get a single delegate in 2020. If she can't get delegates from her own state, what does that tell you about her? All right. So let me say hello to the people in the Rockfin. Hello to the people in the Rumble. If there's any Rumble rants, I'll try to make sure to see about those. Look, let's get into it. What are we talking about? If in case you haven't noticed, we're talking about Biden is out. Look, I got a smirk on my face for a reason. Oh, this tea is so good today. I was going to come live and do a reading. I was. That was the plan. Until this news came out while I was live on RBN. Do you know how much composure I had to have on RBN when I found that news out? I was in my groove, man. Then who hits the chat first to let me know? Boom, Rome. Biden's out. I'm like, oh, snap. Next thing you know, right after, boom, Nick comes in. Biden's out. JB, we need to talk about this now. I'm like, now? Oh, okay. I do my last two segments in a rush. Trying to make sure I get them done, though, but in a rush. And as soon as I get out, Nick is already live talking about it. I want you guys to take a look at what dropped. It was like an album release, man. What dropped? And everybody went, huh? So let's go. Let me see. Oh my Lord. Oh my star. Look. I was like, oh my stars and stripes. So let's go and see what Joseph Robinette Biden said. Here is the letter. Oh boy, this letter this is history right here. History, folks. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., July 21st, 2024. My fellow Americans, Over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress in this nation. Bullshit. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. Now, you know he lying. We made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, and expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. Not all, just a record number of Americans, even though he could pass a single-payer healthcare system if he really wanted to. He could push for it, but he doesn't want to. We've provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances. Yet, the VA is deeply underfunded, and they're overworking their medical personnel just to keep the money low, just to keep the expenses low. Meanwhile, we're giving billions, almost $1 trillion to the military industrial complex. Passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, even though a former president nearly got shot and assassinated. Appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, even though that doesn't really do that much for us Black people, especially since, she's more in line with the corporations than she is with the rest of us normal peoples. And passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. Willow Project has entered the chat. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. That's also patently false. Let's continue. So he continues. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We protected and preserved our democracy. That's cute. And we revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. Also, another very cute statement. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude for all who have worked so hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today that what I always have, that there's nothing America can't do. When we do it together, we just have to remember we are the United States of America. Scribbles. So that happened. I'm going to tell you this. People like Vivek Ramaswamy, people like Dean Phillips, people like Marianne Williamson, Cenk Uygur, y'all are having a hell of a week. Why do I say that? Well, Vivek has been talking it up for Trump all during the Republican primary. Right? Trying so hard. Please give me that VP spot. And then Donald Trump passes him up for JD Vance. Vivek Ramaswamy has more name recognition than JD Vance, and he passed him up for JD Vance. Interesting. He passed him up for a never Trumper. Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson and Cenk Uygur were running in the non-existent Democratic primary. Why was I say non-existent? Because the Democrats said no primary. We're running with Joe. We're not going to have any type of contest. And you saw what happened. There was no primary. They literally canceled the primaries, even though all of us were like, Joe ain't in. He's going through cognitive decline. We know this. We saw this in 2020. It's 2024. And now, y'all just now seeing this? They literally canceled the primary. And so now we're at a point now where it's like, well, now they're forced to kind of have a primary now, even though you have people who were running, who were trying to continue the power of the Democratic Party within the executive branch. But they said no to them. So if I were Marianne Williamson, I'd be pissed by now. I'd be very upset. I'd be upset, but then at the same time, I'd be kind of glad because then I could still run. But you and I both know that they're not going to even give her any iota of consideration, right? Same thing with Dean Phillips. They're not going to give them, either of them, any consideration because you got to remember, according to Bruce Spiva, who is the attorney of the DNC fraud lawsuit, he said that the Democratic National Committee is a private organization. By private, meaning that they are not a government bureaucracy, meaning that they are not beholden to the people in any way, shape, or form. And in that organization, they actually have the ability and the right to choose to select whoever they want to be a candidate, even if it's in a backroom deal, which I'd argue they have done. And so if you think at all that there's going to be a Democratic primary, a Democratic process, baby, I got a diamond encrusted bridge over an active volcano to sell you. So the Democrats are losing their minds. And it's funny. So when this letter came out, a lot of Democrats are now really just going through it. CNN broke, and I want to just get this a little bit.
President Joe Biden has just announced that he is dropping out of the 2024 presidential race. In a stunning letter that was just released moments ago by his campaign on X, formerly known as Twitter, Biden wrote, quote, that it has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. He goes on to say that he will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about his decision. Just a stunning announcement from President Joe Biden that he intends to step down as a candidate in the 2024 election. I want to go straight to CNN White House correspondent Priscilla Alvarez, who was traveling with President Biden in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. Priscilla, what are you learning?
Alex, this is a remarkable development, and it comes after a morning in which we heard more calls for the president to step down from members of his party, including, for example, Senator Joe Manchin. Now, the president in this letter released only moments ago walks through his accomplishments as president. And also, if I can read you this part, it says, "It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president." He goes on to say, "While it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term." He goes on to say he plans to speak to the nation later this week. He also thanks Vice President Kamala Harris for, quote, "being an extraordinary partner in all of this work." Now, of course, Alex, this comes after that disastrous debate performance by the president in late June. It was after that stoked so much anxiety and panic within the Democratic Party and led to a wave of calls over recent weeks for the president to step aside, to withdraw from this race. And this was something that, despite the president getting back on the campaign trail, despite private conversations with multiple lawmakers, and despite a campaign that up until this point had been maintained, even just yesterday, that he was in this race, it appears that we hit that breaking point. Now, of course.
Now, one thing I want to make abundantly clear. Dropping out was not the decision of Biden. His bosses told him to drop out. His bosses, being the oligarchs, the parasite class, they're the ones that said, we don't think you're the guy to manage the system that we own, so you're going to have to give it to somebody else. They took the keys from him. And now, as we can see, they saw what we saw. Hell, let me ask you guys in the chat. Y'all knew just as well as we did that Joe Biden was going to be out, right? Something in me says that the corporate dictators were just trying to, hold on as long as they possibly could to kind of make us think that Joe Biden was more okay than he was. And they tried to stretch it out as much as they possibly could, but it's just like the optics were that bad that they couldn't stretch it out any further. And so now they're like, well, we can't fake this democratic process by forcing him to stay in. Everybody's telling him to leave. So we're just going to have to switch him out and make it look like that we're, the Democratic Party's doing this for the good of the country, when in reality, the oligarchs don't want to continue. They want to give the illusion of a choice. They want to give the illusion that the Democratic Party is not technically beholden to the oligarchs, when in reality, they always talk about, donors. Donors are really just the owners. That's ultimately what they are. They're the ones that own people like Joe Biden. They're the ones that own people like Donald Trump. It's not democratic like you think it is. So, let's continue.
Of course, the president has been at his residence here in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. He has been self-isolating because he was diagnosed with COVID earlier in the week. It was that diagnosis that pulled him off of the campaign trail at a pivotal moment. He was in Nevada. He was shoring up support with Black and Latino voters. And it was before one of his last events that he got that positive COVID diagnosis and had to be blitzed back here to the East Coast, to Delaware, where he has since been self-isolating. It has been during that time that he's also been deliberating. He is with his closest advisors and his inner circle in what has been a challenging and at times frustrating time for this campaign. Now, we should also note, Alex, that earlier today on the airwaves, the president's allies were saying that he was in it to win it. Again, this was the resounding message that we were getting from the campaign time and time again. But this letter tells us that the president, upon self-reflection, upon all of the calls from Democratic lawmakers, allies, and donors for him to step aside, has listened to those calls and has decided to not seek re-election in what
Barack came in and said, "You're not running." Barack was like, "Nope, you ain't doing it." And so, as we can see, now the Democratic Party is in shambles. You want to see how much shambles the Democratic Party's in? All right, I got you. Van Jones, we really need to talk.
Even people who are pushing for this to happen, it's kind of like when your grandpa, you got to take the keys, and everybody, you got to take his keys, you got to take his keys, you got to, and he's fighting, and everybody's so frustrated, and then you finally get the keys back. And then you just cry, because this is somebody that you love. This is somebody that you care about. This is somebody who was there for you. This is somebody you wouldn't be here without him. And you have to take something from him. Now, this is not, look, this politics is politics, but this is a human moment for one of the great humans in America. This is a huge moment for him, for his family, for all of us who love him, for all of us who wanted him to get across the finish line. But if you're a young person watching this, this is leadership.
Wait. Van. Are you crying for a racist? Are you crying for somebody that is allegedly committed sexual assault? Are you crying for a man that has ushered in mass incarceration for thousands of people, particularly men that look like us? Are you for real right now, Van? Are you telling me that you're crying for a man that has pushed and helped funded the extermination of a people for the last, since October 7th, but before that? Are you crying for a man that has literally approved drilling projects in indigenous land on this very country? Are you kidding me right now? Van, you could not be more played than you are right now. You're crying, bro? This is why I should have put some liquor in this, because I can't. Jesus. Do I even want to listen to any? Oh, gosh.
This is patriotism.
No!
This is what it means to put the country first, and put the party first, and put the cause first. When your arm gets tired, you let somebody else finish pitching the game. That's what Joe Biden has done. And he's done that for all of us. And so I just want to say, I don't know who's going to be the VP, the non-VP. I don't know anything about politics. I just know that I love this man.
Wait. You don't know anything about politics, yet you're on CNN talking politics? Is that the most honest answer that you've ever heard from Van Jones? Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. All I know is that I love this man. All I know is I loves Master. Master's been good. He good white folk. He been real good to me. He's been kind. He is kind. He is smart. He is impotent and potent. My God. The tap dancing is ridiculous. Good God Almighty.
I don't know anything about politics. I just know that I love this man. I care about this man. It was painful every day to sit up here and talk about him like he's just a, some problem for the party. Wait till we get to the convention. You're going to see people crying, standing, screaming, cheering. He may not get a chance to talk for 10 minutes. We finally get a chance to put our arm around this guy. You did the right thing for this country. You did the right thing for this party. All of us are going to be in this situation someday. And I hope that we take a moment to honor this man and to love this man. I love Joe Biden. I appreciate what he's done. And a lot of people are heartbroken today. Even if it's the right thing, it's still just horrible. Even people who are...
Oh, my gosh. Like I said, the Democratic Party is in shambles. And, when it comes to what Van Jones said about he doesn't know who is going to be the nominee, it could be, who's going to be the vice presidential nominee and things like that. Unfortunately, we kind of know who they're pushing at the moment. It's very unfortunate who they're pushing at the moment. This is who they're trying to push.
Poor hubby. Poor hubby. No.
He knows how to sell right there. Okay.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's still got a sense of humor. Right?
And I think in New Hampshire, you're
Okay. So joining us now from New York.
Okay. Now because you'll need some help. Maybe you can have look fantastic. No, maybe.
Oh, my God.
So, let's do this.
That the de facto new leader of the party. That is who they are saying, well, Joe Biden's out. Let's get Miss in office. If Krusty the Clown was a woman, I'm telling you right now, it is wild how now they are trying to push Kamala Harris on the American people, even though Kamala Harris really is just no different, really, than a Joe Biden or a Donald Trump. And the crazy part about it is you have people who say that they're progressive, and yet they post things like this. This is from Ilhan Omar. Thank you, Mr. President. This was the president's decision to make, and I'm grateful for his years of service to our country. Thrilled to support Kamala Harris as our Democratic nominee and remain committed to working alongside her to defeat Donald Trump in November. Here she goes. Pictures. Oh my goodness. The squad are now corralling behind a woman that has done terrible things to the Black community as a as the Attorney General of California. Let me share this, see if I can find it. Yeah. I want to share this with you guys because Kamala Harris is not loved by the Black community. I even have my doubts that Kamala Harris is even loved by women. But this is why we don't like her. Tulsi Gabbard, she destroyed Kamala Harris. She cooked her. Well done.
Congresswoman Gabbard, you took issue with Senator Harris confronting Vice President Biden at the last debate. You called it a, quote, false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept
that part right there. She blocked evidence that would have freed a man on death row, and she only did so when the courts forced her to do it? That's Kamala Harris. That's who the Democrats, that's what some people are pushing the Democrats to have as the nominee. She's cut from the same cloth as a Joe Biden. Let's continue. I can't believe we're playing this again 4 years later.
People in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she
Yes, they literally have slave labor in California by means of prisoners, by means of inmates. This is just like what they do in Angola, in the Louisiana state prison system, where they still have them picking cotton. That's Kamala Harris. She's no friend of Black people, even though she's a part of our community. Let's continue.
And she fought to keep
Thank you,
cash bail
Congresswoman.
system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you.
She also wanted to keep cash bail in place, which is deeply anti-worker, deeply anti-working class, because how many of us can afford bail? All right, let's finish it up.
Congresswoman, Senator Harris, your response.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were about reentering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize, but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I want to bring Congresswoman.
She did not at all address the accusations. She said, I'm proud of the work we did. But she didn't dispute what Tulsi Gabbard said. This is who they want to run the country.
Gabbard, back in, your response.
The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you are in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who are on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
So that is who Kamala Harris is. And make no mistake, all the people who say, oh, well, Black people are behind Kamala Harris, well, the devil is a liar. I mean, why are we sitting there, you know? Why are we sitting there, you know, just continuing to why are we sitting there continuing to take this abuse? This manipulation from the Democratic Party. And remember, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Kamala Harris may look like us. But like Kendrick said, they not like us. So I found this just now. So let me take a look at this really quick, because this looks interesting. Tulsi decided to come in again. This has happened 4 hours ago. She said, Biden is out, Kamala is in. Don't be fooled. Policies won't change. Just like Biden wasn't the one calling the shots, Kamala Harris won't be either. She is the new figurehead for the deep state and the maidservant of the Hillary Clinton, queen of the cabal of warmongers. They will continue their efforts to engulf the world in war and take away our liberty. Let's take a look at this. Interesting.
Hey, everybody. I just got here to Rome, where I'm going to be joining a dialogue and forum on peace, security, and prosperity for the Western Hemisphere in Europe. I just saw the news flash like everybody else. President Biden's no longer running for re-election. And he's endorsed Kamala Harris to be the Democratic nominee for president and commander-in-chief.
Correction, Tulsi. He did not endorse her. In that letter, there was no mention of his endorsement of Kamala Harris to be the president of the United States. So that also needs to be put a feather in your cap, because guess what? He ain't endorsing her neither. Look, how in the hell are you not going to endorse your vice president when you drop out? Child, let me tell you, Kamala is not going to be having a good time for the next, let me see, July, August, September, October, November. 4 months. It's not going to be a good 4 months for her. Let's be real. It's not. Let's continue.
I'm going to sound the same warning now that I have been for years, going all the way back to 2020 when both Kamala and I were running for president on the Democratic ticket. She is unfit and unqualified to be our president and commander-in-chief and would be incredibly dangerous in that position. The prospect of Kamala Harris making decisions about war and peace and where to send my brothers and sisters in uniform into harm's way is not only terrifying to us, it should be terrifying to every American, knowing that we would all pay the price for her dangerous actions and dangerous decisions. Everything you've heard me say about Hillary Clinton, the queen of warmongers, can also be said of Kamala Harris. There should be no question in your mind that if Kamala is allowed to be our president and commander-in-chief, she'll be the maidservant of this queen of warmongers, the head of this elitist cabal of warmongers that has gotten us into this place. They're the ones who've been calling the shots behind Joe Biden's presidency. They would continue to call the shots if Kamala Harris is president. And where have they led us? To the brink of war with multiple countries in all parts of the world, and closer to the brink of nuclear war and Armageddon now than ever before.
Now, while Tulsi is correct about this, Tulsi, you also need to sit down too. Because you keep pushing for war with states that have a large Muslim population. So you can't talk either. Tulsi, I need you to sit down right now, because you're now trying to curry favor with the MAGA crowd, with Trump, who also has interest further towards world war, especially when he had Qasem Soleimani, who was a general in Iran, murdered. Qasem Soleimani, who was actually fighting ISIS, who you say you're against, and yet Donald Trump had him killed. And then on top of that, the wars that have been started by people like Obama were continued by Donald Trump. He never stopped them. He never pulled out of these wars. He never said, okay, we're going to end all these wars. We're going to close these military bases down. I ain't heard him do damn one of them things. So with that being said, Tulsi, yes, your critique of Kamala Harris is correct. However, you need to also look inside the mirror. Tulsi, the call is coming from inside the house, ma'am. All right. Let's finish.
The choice for us is very clear. If we cherish peace and freedom, and if we love our country, we must vote against Kamala Harris in this election on November 5th and vote for Donald Trump. Hey, everybody.
There it is. There it is. Tulsi Gabbard pushing the duopoly. See what I mean? Tulsi put that out 4 hours ago. Excuse me. I'm allergic to bullshit. And so, yes, she can give the right prescription in regards to walking away from the Democrats, but she'll also still lead you down the path of the party that is also puppeted by the parasite class. Tulsi ain't it either. So I saw that in real time, and I was just like, wow, okay. Tulsi just said something. So make no mistake, the Democratic Party is in shambles right now. And part of me wants to also say people like AOC who have endorsed Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders who have endorsed Joe Biden, they've been manipulative because they know Joe Biden is not all there. And instead of having the intestinal fortitude to say, you know what, I'm not going to endorse. I'm going to go in a different direction because I feel like the Democratic Party should be pushing for somebody else to take the reins of the party and try to lead us in a better direction against Donald Trump. Instead, they stuck with Joe Biden because that's what the corporate dictators want them to do. They're doing the bidding of their masters. And so when I say things like Donald Trump and Joe Biden are really just symptoms of the system, that's what I mean. They're symptoms of the system. Now, Kamala Harris is a symptom of the system. And now there's underpinnings of maybe Hillary Clinton coming back in and actually trying to run and go against Joe Biden. That would be hilarious. I want you guys to think about this. This is a crack in the hull of the duopoly. We've seen cracks in the hull with the Republican Party and now the Democrat Party. The Republican Party, meaning Donald Trump chose J.D. Vance, someone who is Israel first, not America first, and who is a puppet of Peter Thiel, who really is just a tech billionaire oligarch that has his hand up J.D. Vance's ass and moving his mouth like a puppet. That's who Donald Trump chose. Donald Trump is the swamp. I know some of y'all will come in my chat and be like, no, he's not the swamp. He's actually trying to get rid of the swamp. Then why did he choose someone from the swamp? Ask yourself that. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to have MAGA people who are going to come in my chat that are going to be pissed at me for saying such a thing. But it's true. Because Donald Trump has always been part of the swamp, just like Joe Biden. No different. Let's take a look here. Oh, what is this? What? This is a check. From who? Donald John Trump. 725 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10022. This was September 26th of 2011. The check date is September 13th of 2011. Check amount $5,000 to re-elect Attorney General Kamala D. Harris. Interesting, right? Remember, Donald Trump was a Democrat a few years ago. He's never been for you. He's never been with you. Just like Joe Biden has never been with us, Donald Trump has never been with us. If you are a worker, you need to realize that Donald Trump will play you just like he did those small businesses that he also stiffed. He's stiffing you just like he stiffed everybody else. So I want to make this abundantly clear. On this channel, there is no support for the duopoly, no support for Democrats, no support for Republicans. Because ultimately, they are all one party that is geared and being used by the parasite class in order to continue to exploit all of us. What we saw today was that crack in the hull, because now Donald Trump chose J.D. Vance, and now we see Joe Biden has to drop out because his master said, we can't have you. So now they're going to try to do what Indiana Jones did, where he took that bag of rocks and replaced it with the statue. Oh, that's what they're trying to do. Are you now willing to be that big stone rolling ball and roll the asshole? Are you willing to be that ball that comes out and sees, whoa, 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 whoa? Why are you guys pushing this politician on us? Some of you guys are going to still be under the impression that, well, it's better than Donald Trump, when in reality, Donald Trump and Joe Biden are workmates for the same boss. And you just don't get it. And you got people like Van Jones crying over someone who's just like Trump. Give me a break. And so there's a lot of people who are losing their minds right now. You have people all over corporate media that are talking about it. I know MSNBC, they're still live talking about it. There are NBC News is talking about it. MSNBC is talking about it. Because ultimately, this is a crack in the system where a lot of people weren't expecting, or some of us were expecting, but some people just hang on. Let me share this just for a second. Let me switch this account because for some odd reason. Okay. I just saw this. Let me get into this really quick. I'm not going to be on much longer because it's almost 9. But let me share this right quick and just look at this. This is less than 3 minutes. Let's talk about it.
ABC's editorial producer, John Santucci. John, on the other end of this, you have former President Donald Trump's campaign. The former president is just after surviving this attempted assassination on his been back out on the campaign trail. And the Trump campaign has been notably a little bit more quiet on President Biden following this debate, a sign that maybe they really wanted to see him stay on the ballot in November. What more are we learning from the Trump campaign about how they're responding to this and also how they're preparing to now face off against Vice President Kamala Harris?
Rachel, literally, as you were just introducing me, we just got a statement from former President Donald Trump. I'm going to read the entire thing, Rachel. It's posted to his Truth Social account. It reads, quote, "Crooked Joe Biden was not fit to run for president and is certainly not fit to serve and never was. He only attained the position of president by lies, fake news, and not leaving his basement. All those around him, including the doctors and the media, knew that he wasn't capable of being president, and he wasn't. And now look what he's done to our country with millions of people coming across our border, totally unchecked, unvetted, many from prisons, mental institutions. a number of terrorists. He goes on to say, we will suffer greatly because of his presidency, but we will remedy the damage he has done very quickly. Trump goes on to end the statement, make America great again. Of course, the signature line, Rachel, as you know all too well. Listen, the Trump team in recent days, Rachel, you and I have been reporting this together, have actually backed off attacking President Biden because they see an easier path to beat Joe Biden. Now, all of which to say, as again, because you and I do this together, Rachel, we reported earlier today, our understanding at ABC News is that the Trump team had been building basically a just-in-case book to beat Kamala Harris. They've been doing research, some polling, and we know from our reporting, Rachel, that they've already looked at how they would, take some of the past statements of the vice president, now that, of course, Joe Biden's endorsed her, and start to build attack ads against her. The reality is that this is going to be a bit of uncharted waters for the Trump team because, again, for much of the last 3 years, they've been gearing up for Joe Biden. So it is going to have to be a quick pivot. They are going to have to start to spend more money, especially on ads, which, as you well know, Rachel, a big bulk of Donald Trump's campaign cash has been used really for his legal bills over the last year as he fended off the cases in New York, the federal cases by Special Counsel Jack Smith and the investigations brought by Fulton County District Attorney Bonnie Willis in the efforts to turn the election there. I do think the other thing that I'm hearing from my sources, and I know my colleague Catherine Folders and you were hearing it as well, Rachel, is that one of the things they're going to do is attack Kamala Harris on immigration. But seriously, though, this is a big shock to them as
well. The fact that they would have rather went against Joe Biden, I can see that. But Kamala Harris's record is also atrocious. So you can just go against her record too. Right? But make no mistake, it's all just a game. So when it comes to this whole dumpster fire that happened over the weekend, is it funny? Yes. But this also means that this is showing the frailty within the duopoly. And this is also making people like Chase Oliver of the Libertarian Party. This is making Dr. Joe Stein of the Green Party and many other people who are running independent, except for RFK Jr. This is making them look good. The reason why is because people are sick and tired of the duopoly and their antics. People are sick and tired of how they have been screwing over people. The DNC can talk about how democratic they are, but if they're so democratic, then why in the world are they pushing to keep the Green Party off the ballot? Just ask Matthew Ho. I had him on a few weeks ago. Maybe a couple months ago, about how the DNC has been blocking him from being able to run for Senate in North Carolina. So when it comes to the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, they don't have a democratic bone in their bodies. And so ultimately, why in the world would we give any type of grace towards a party all because they had to take the keys away from Joe? Taking the keys away from Joe and feeling bad is like taking the keys away from a guy that's trying to commit vehicular homicide, but he's swerving so much in the road that he may miss his target. So you want to give the keys over to a driver that will hit their victim on target more accurately. Are you really going to feel bad that they took the keys away from him and gave it to somebody else to commit vehicular homicide? I want to stop the car, period. I don't want anybody behind the wheel of that car. Or if I do have to have somebody behind the wheel of that car, I want somebody that doesn't want to commit vehicular homicide and drives the car in a completely different direction. But that's only outside of the duopoly. So yes, as far as people like Joe Biden's concerned, yeah, he's out, but they're just going to replace him with somebody else who honestly is just as bad when it comes to the people, when it comes to how they treat, those of us who are workers. Ultimately, it really is just somebody to continue the exploitation. So I hope you guys, I really hope that you guys do not continue to fall for this BS that continues through either party, because in reality, if you do, if you continue to keep falling for it, you deserve whatever the hell you get. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. You keep approving of the people who are the puppets of the oligarchs, which is the Democratic and Republican Party. That's your own damn fault. Because people like myself, RBN, Danny Haifong, The Gray Zone, Indie News Network, there's so many of us, and independent media, the Black Agenda Report, there's so many of us that keep pointing out the flaws within the duopoly, and yet people keep falling for it. This is why I talk about, if you're tuned into independent media like my channel or many others' channel, make sure to share and help open people's eyes. Look, play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. So yes, Joe Biden has dropped out. And now who is going to be the next nominee? Will it be Kamala Harris, or is it going to be Marianne Williamson? Are they going to allow her to run in the Democratic primary? I don't know. Is it going to be Dean Phillips? I don't know. They're going to allow him to continue in the Democratic primary. Are they just going to go into a back room because legally they can and just pick Hillary Clinton, aka Darth Clinton? Who knows? They might just do that. Or they could pick Gavin Newsom, because the Nancy Pelosi's and Barack Obamas are really going to be like, yeah, that person. The hell with the democratic process. So we'll see. But it's not going to be somebody that the people actually want. It's going to be who the corporate dictators, the parasite class wants. No matter what, whether it's Trump versus insert Democratic nominee here, either way, the corporations still win. Now, the question is, what are we going to do in order to push back on this system? Well, there's a couple of things we can do. We can vote outside the duopoly. That's if you're still tuned into electoral politics, but that is just a very small piece of a very simple puzzle that we can do. So vote outside the duopoly. So whether if you want to do libertarian, if you want to do Green Party, if you want to do PSL, that's Party for Socialism and Liberation, if you want to do an independent candidate, remember you have Dr. Cornel West that's running. If you want, I know there's Dr. Shiva that's still running. There's Jasmine Sherman that's running. If you want to go that route. If you do not want to vote for a particular person because you see them all as horrible, at least still vote for the ballot measures, the ballot initiatives in your state so that you can minimize and abate some of the damage that's done to us working people. That's number 2. Number 3 is to organize. See, here's what I mean. Is we need to build dual power outside of this system in order to change the system fundamentally. Because even if you get somebody who's third party, you still have to go against a duopoly controlled House and a duopoly controlled Senate and a duopoly controlled Supreme Court. So with that being said, it is incumbent upon us to organize and to build dual power. This means mutual aid. This means trying to, be a part of organizations that are educating our neighbors and that are helping our neighbors to operate outside of the capitalist system. And so that's what's also important. And I think that's actually the most important thing that we should be doing. Going on Tuesday, November 5th, to bubble in a few people's names and then turn it in to vote, that's the very, very last thing we should be doing. Ultimately, you need to organize because guess what? In order and build class consciousness with your neighbors. That's what needs to happen because ultimately, it has to be done by us. There's no masters, no heroes. You are your own hero. We have to save each other. We have to come together as a community. And this is why we say organize, because if not, well, it's not going to work out well for us because we're just going to stay within the same hamster wheel. So let me defer the last say to my birthday twin, Kwame Ture. It says the importance of organization. This needs to happen beyond electoral politics. Take it away, Brother Kwame.
You will not stop. We have told you it's a fact. If you look at history, I have known no great man or no great woman that didn't belong to an organization, not one. The American capitalist system will so confuse some of us that we will actually think that we by ourselves can lead the people to their freedom. There's no such thing as Rambo or Superman. It exists only in Hollywood. Fidel Castro, as bad as he is, he needs a Communist Party of Cuba to help direct Cuba. V.I. Lenin, as rough as he is, he needed a Bolshevik Party. Karl Marx was a great man, had to organize the International Working Men's Association. The Honorable Marcus Garvey saw clear and long, but he needed the Universal Negro Improvement Association of the African Community Leagues. Patrice Lumumba was a great man. He needed organization. Harriet Tubman was a rough sister. She needed organization. Rosa Parks sat down so we can get up. She needed organization. Malcolm X so loved organization that when he left the Nation of Islam, he created two organizations, the Muslim Mosque Incorporated for Muslims and the African American Organization, spotted after the Organization of African Unity. Everywhere you will see the need for organization. Martin Luther King was a righteous man, but even he recognized the need for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And while Nelson Mandela is known all over the world, he still has the African National Congress. Every brother or sister who truly seeks to advance the world must belong to an organization.
And goes the same for all of you. Organize, because now is the time to fight and change the system so that it can benefit all of us. Go ahead and give the stream a like. Thank you so very much. We're going to get into the chat for this. This has been an interesting day. But before I get into that, I want to get into giving my thanks to the patrons on the Patreon. Yes, the patrons on the Patreon. Without you guys, I would not be able to do this type of work. So let's show them the tiers. So thank you very much, patrons, for Mega Jaybefaunters, Super Duper Jaybefaunters, Super Jaybefaunters, Jaybefaunters, Comrades, Solidarity, and JB members. And we still have up here the ones from last week, Tisha and Mark P. Thagao. Thank you very much. Thank you for all new members that have joined so far. Without you guys, would not be able to do this work. So it means the most. So let's get into the chat. I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to start off to see if we have any Rumble rants. I've never had the Rumble rant on here before, but we can get into it. So there is some Rumble chats. Let's go. All right, so we have Buddy Weiser says, testify, my brother. Thank you very much. B. Hayes or Hurst says, voting Schultzstein, NPA, no party affiliation since 1971. Never ever voted Democrat or Republican. Interesting, Hazelhurst. Chocolate Dice says, down goes Biden. They say, the only way for a Dem to beat Trump is to run against Biden. They'd have to admit Biden's presidency was a turd and set a new course. They got nobody I know of to do that. Any Newsnet, I don't know about that. Yeah, I'm not sure about, calling any news network that, because they definitely do stand with workers. That I do know of. But thank you for your comments in the chat. Let's go. Rockfin. I gotta go to Rockfin. And let's go here. All right. Let's share the screen. Ta-da. All right. So we have Hempcar saying Obama acted all anti-war PC too. I don't believe Tulsi. Agreed. Hempcar says, why don't they just run Bernie? He's falling in line with them anyway. Some people are trying to get Bernie in the party, but ultimately, the corporate dictators do not want Bernie Sanders. He's too far to the left of them, and so they're not going to want Bernie. That's just, yeah, it's whatever they want it to be, not what the people want. Let me see. Anna Mares says, I've been laughing the whole day. Amen. Got Laura Beza in the chat. Hello. Good to see you. Let me see all these beautiful people. Let me see. Car says, makes you want Bernie. Oh, Bernie's going to continue the genocide too. It's quite unfortunate. Let's go into the rest of the chat here. Let's go. All right. So, Creative Experiments says Jordan Sheridan will still vote Democrat. I don't know, because Jordan Sheridan has, from what I've been hearing, is he's been more promoting the Green Party, actually, Dr. Joe Stein. So I don't know. I can't say for sure that Jordan Sheridan will still continue to push Democrat. Do you guys think it will be a good idea for me to reach out to have him on to talk about it? I don't know. Let me know. But I would hope that somebody like Jordan sees the Democrats for what they are, as just the other side of the coin as the Republicans. And so he will be going outside of duopoly. You never know, because people can have that awakening after us. And the thing is, I have to give people more grace. Where there's some people who may not arrive to the same conclusions that I do right when I do. And so I want to give them grace and say, okay, you just have to reach that conclusion on your own. And I don't want to berate them for coming to the conclusion after I did. Like, oh, it's about time. You know what I'm saying? I just hope that he's reached that conclusion already. The same one that I have. But yes. Rulon is laughing. Good to see you. Christy says Biden dropped out on National Ice Cream Day, and I ain't making that up. Wait, it's National Ice Cream Day? Hold up. Is it National Ice Cream Day? Oh, it is. Oh, I got some black cherry ice cream. No, I don't really eat ice cream anymore. I don't eat dairy anymore. Maybe I should have a little bit of that just as a celebration. Interesting. Oh my gosh. That's funny. Thank you very much. Creative Experience says Bernie is crying for his good friend. Oh my gosh. Matt Randazzo says, after all that simping by AOC and Bernie, they're going down with the ship. Yeah, their legitimacy is done. They're cooked. Jack Serum says, today I couldn't stop thinking about the profoundly bad political instincts of the squad and Bernie, who spent the last few weeks simping for geriatric Joe and shrieking about violence against Trump. Yeah. They were the ones who were making it sound like Trump is such an existential threat that somebody actually tried to carry out neutralizing said threat. And now it's like, well, no, that's not what we mean, but you were saying it. Chris says, my party, okay, at least he claimed that it's his party committing all these awful crimes against Palestinians. Yep. H. Luke Hill says, hello, all, good to see you. Creative Experiment says Biden just wants to complete his genocide term in peace at his home in Delaware. Yep. Let me see. Roger Meadows says, I like Jill. She spends too much time talking about the problem in our system and not enough time on reinforcing her policy solutions. I would say that I would recommend to Dr. Stein to kind of do what Bernie did in 2020, which is talk about 3 key policies that you know that affects working people and just hammer them home every single time. Do not stop hammering home. Like, for instance, you want the workers to be able to democratically run the workplace, make that one of your signatures. If you want to talk about a nationalization of our healthcare system, you can do that. Or also, you're against the extermination of the Palestinian people. Hammer that home. Just hammer it home, and then always continually hammer home that Donald Trump is also against the workers. So hammer home that the Democratic Party is against the workers and the Republican parties are against the workers. But always hammer home your points about your policy positions. And I say this to anybody that's running third party. Hammer home your policy, because like my friend Afeni says, policy is my love language. Make sure to constantly list the policies. Let me see. Roger Meadow says, JB, tell your people that the DSC and DCCC and DNC to stop texting me. Wait, my people? Bro, no. No way. No way. Say, my phone has been going after nonstop since Joe dropped out. Look, Roger, I'm going to tell you right now. What the hell? I got the same problem. Hang on. Look at this. Look at that. It says, hi, James. Team Blue Amp Action here. Thank you, Joe Biden. If you haven't been online today, you just missed some earth-shattering news. President Biden has agreed to step down and pass the torch to Kamala Harris. This is a critical moment for Democrats to show our strength and unite around future President Kamala Harris and against Donald Trump. Ron, why are you calling me? Hang on. Rome, I'm live right now. Yeah. Okay. We can talk about it in a little bit, but I'm live right now. I'm talking to you, huh? By myself on my channel. Mm-hmm. Hang on, wait. Okay, go ahead.
I don't give a, you better like, subscribe, and donate. This man works hard. This is his fourth stream today. Come on, he's here to educate. Do what you can to support this man because he's doing all he can for you. He loves you, obviously. Like he I ain't gonna lie, he probably like you a little bit too much because y'all niggas ain't. But show love to my man. No homo, pause, no diddy.
Oh man, thank you very much, Ron.
I should have crashed your shit. All right, man. Have a good stream. Have a good stream, y'all. Hey.
All right, man. Thank you so much. All right, I'll talk to you later. Oh, I told you it was gonna be a fun stream. But Roger says, yeah, nonstop since Joe dropped out. Yeah, I got Hakeem Jeffries texting me, man. Like, what in the world? Ugh, the hell. Teresa says we need to get the war in Gaza stopped. Absolutely, I fully agree. In fact, now my only pushback is it's not a war; it is an extermination. But yes, I completely agree with you. That extermination needs to stop. We need to make sure that the Palestinian people actually get their land back, their right to return. We got to make sure that we can stop that. Chris C says, agree with ballot measures. That's a lot easier to breathe than an out-of-touch federal Congress president. Yeah. I agree. Mr. Meepsor says, yeah, they don't fear any one of us like they fear our potential unity despite everything they use to divide us. Yeah. Make it popular for politicians to be scared of you again. That's basically it. We need critical thinking, says Dems be like, let Joe bygones be Joe bygones and support Kamala. Oh gosh, it is terrible, man. Let me see. Cobra Commander says, currently hanging out with the biggest Democrat liberal I know, my mother, and according to the Central Lib Committee, they say, well, the funds have dried up and the polls are down. Geez, how you deal? I'm so glad my mom's not into politics like that. Oh, goodness. Chrissy said, JB got to get monetized again, y'all. Seriously. They permanently demonetized me, man. There's no way for me to get monetized again. Just to let you guys know, my channel's been demonetized. So if you like support the channel, you can support it via Patreon or PayPal. But yeah, there's no way I'm getting demonetized again. I just don't see it. Yeah. So whatever man said to Rome say no Diddy. I maybe. I don't know. But yeah. Antoine Dixon said Jimmy Dore got called out by Whitney Webb for being a Trump stooge paid by Rumble. Damn. All right. Let me see. Creative Experiment says if Trump is smart, he'll keep that comically huge bandage on his ear until November. Look, and everybody's now starting to wear that bandage on their ear. I'm like it's Nelly with the bandage under the eye. Like, come on now. This worship of politicians is just sickening. You know what I'm saying? Just falling over people who have been on TV. Yeah. And yes, love to Rome. Yep. And baby goes hard in the paint is laughing. Yeah. All right. So thank you so much to everybody that's tuned in. Oh, Mark P. The gal says mental institutions have they escaped from Capitol Hill. Are you talking about Joe Biden? Oh yeah, John Kemper. Good to see you. He says we all knew Joe was done when he started. Took them 4 years to lead him to pasture. Yeah, this is old Yeller. That's basically what it is. It's old Yeller all over again. Lou Carlos says Democrats are the enemy in every sense of the word. They are just like the Republicans, man. No different. All right, so I'm gonna head on out because I gotta get out of here. Plus, I gotta get up early in the morning for dialysis treatment. So it is what it is. But I also will try to make sure to get my reading done. Oh man, I was gonna do it, but this story came out and I had to talk about it. But I'll try to get the reading done. I'm supposed to be reading Of Water and the Spirit, so I'll get that done so you guys can have that reading as well this week. Tune in on Tuesday. I'll be doing some news stories. We're going to be talking about one of the things we're going to talk about is actually video games, and I want to talk about that because that's a story that needs to be talked about. ZOMG Ruler says, does third party support dwindle? I don't necessarily think, will this hurt third parties? I don't think it will. What I think will happen is some people are going to get turned off. But I also feel like third parties, some people are going to say, well, Joe Biden is not running anymore. Therefore, Genocide Joe is out, meaning that we don't have to feel as bad about supporting him because the extermination that's happening in Gaza, we won't have to support that person. Even if Kamala Harris, for instance, let's say Kamala Harris is running, and let's say she wins the presidency in November, it's going to go from Genocide Joe to Killer Kamala. Mark my words. Because she's going to continue to fund this extermination in Israel. And she's going to continue the policies that have led to the extermination of the people in Congo, continue the policies that have led to the extermination of people in Sudan, continue the policies that have led to the extermination of people of Haiti, continuing the policies that are continuously leading to the extermination of people in places like Syria, Yemen, Iraq, Afghanistan, just name a black or brown country. She's going to continue what's going on in Ukraine, because ultimately it's not really up to her, it's up to her corporate masters. But do I think that some people may try to swindle their way into continuing with the Democratic Party by this? Yeah. But ultimately, I think that a lot of people are now going to have a bad taste in their mouth, and they're going to see that the Democratic Party actually does not go by the will of the people. They're going to see what we have been saying for the last 3 to 4 years. And I hope it opens a lot more people's eyes. So this is why I always say shared independent media far and wide, because even though there may be people who may not like my style, not like my channel, and that's okay, they might like, a Richie Medhurst. They might like a Danny Haifong. They might like an RBN. They might like a Savvy Sabs, right? They could like a Black Agenda Report. Maybe they might like to read a little bit more. Maybe they might want more in-depth analysis, like from the Gray Zone. What have you? Continuously push independent media their way so that they can get their news that is more tailored and for the workers. Because, we have to walk away from this system. So, yeah. Whatever man says, start another channel to get monetized. I would have to build from scratch again. And I really don't want to do that. If I can try to get this remonetized again, I'll try. It's just there's a lot to, on my plate right now. And plus I'm trying to work on getting a kidney transplant too. So yeah. But thank you very much. Black Unit Griffin says, but even AOC did used to say that though. They will use whatever rhetoric they can in order to make you think they're revolutionary without actually doing the action. Pay attention to actions more than words. Yeah. So they'll say whatever they can. But yes, so I'm going to head on out. I'm going to finish dinner because I only got to eat half my dinner because, I had to be on here. But be sure to tune in this Tuesday. And yeah, so I was thinking about having a closing video, but I think we did all right. And I'm not going to subject you guys to that Kamala cackling once again, because y'all don't need that. And I don't need it. But it is pretty funny. And so, yeah. Oh, I'll show you guys this though before I go, because I think this is hilarious. So CNN, you know, it's an acronym for Cable News Network, but Margaret Kimberly actually said she gave the acronym a little bit of a twist. Regarding Van Jones, she called it the Crying Negro Network. So yeah, there you go. CNN, Crying Negro Network. Man, Van Jones is literally crying like Keith Sweat, man. I won't be here for long. Anyway, so I'm gonna head on out. Hey, I'm wearing the same shirt as my video. Anywho, look, water your plants, water yourselves, leave the world better than you found it. Smoke them if you got them, drink them if you got them. If you ain't got them, then watch something hilarious, because joy is revolutionary. Eat some popcorn while listening to the Democratic Party cry in shambles this evening. Yeah, and have some chamomile tea. It's kind of late, so get yourself ready and primed up for bed. I love y'all for watching. I had a long weekend, and it was a decent weekend. Got to hang out with my brother yesterday, so I love that. And look, you guys take care of yourselves and continue to try to organize as much as you possibly can, despite whatever people who push the duopoly say. That's not organizing. Real organizing means building dual power outside of the duopoly. So I love you all for watching. Mwah, forehead kisses. You guys have yourself a beautiful day, and take it away, JB. Thank you so very much for watching my channel, and I deeply appreciate it from the top and bottom of my heart. If you wish to support the channel further, so I can keep bringing you content that is educational and informative, you can become a patron on patreon.com/Jaybefaunt. You can find that link in the pinned comment or in the description below. No matter what you give, you'll be supporting independent media and education that helps make the world better. Thank you so much, and you can watch more of my content here. Mwah. Forehead kisses, and have a beautiful day.